Have you ever heard of a country that carries a name completely opposite to what it actually looks like? In the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, hundreds of kilometers away from any continent, lies a group of islands that many people have never even heard of. A place surrounded by endless blue waters, shaped by volcanoes, powerful winds, and centuries of history. This is Cape Verde. At first glance, these islands seem almost unreal. From the sky, jagged mountains rise from the ocean like the last visible fragments of a lost world. Their dramatic landscapes look as if they belong to another planet, rather than a small nation off the coast of Africa. Yet one mystery stands out above everything else. The name Cape Verde, literally, means Green Cape. A name like that creates an image of dense forests, flowing rivers, and lush tropical scenery. But when travelers arrive here, they are often surprised by what they find. Instead of endless greenery, much of the landscape is covered by rugged volcanic terrain, rocky valleys, dry hillsides, and vast stretches of land where water has always been scarce. For much of the year, the dominant colors are not green at all. They are shades of brown, gray, and gold. So why was this place given such a misleading name? The answer takes us back more than 5 centuries. Long before these islands appeared on European maps, sailors traveling along the coast of West Africa passed a prominent peninsula known as Cabo Verde, or Green Cape. When Portuguese explorers later discovered this remote archipelago in the Atlantic, they simply borrowed the same name. The islands themselves were never especially green. In fact, Cape Verde sits within the influence of the Sahel, one of the driest regions in Africa. Winds frequently carry dust from the Sahara Desert across the ocean, covering the islands in a thin veil of sand and haze. Fresh water has always been one of the most valuable resources here. For generations, droughts shaped everyday life, forcing communities to adapt to some of the harshest environmental conditions in the Atlantic world. But perhaps the most remarkable fact about Cape Verde is not its climate, it is its people. Because, unlike most countries on Earth, these islands had no indigenous population. Before the arrival of European explorers in the 15th century, there is no evidence of permanent human settlement anywhere in the archipelago. Cape Verde was essentially an empty land waiting to be discovered. What happened next would transform these isolated, volcanic islands into one of the most fascinating cultural crossroads on the planet. Today, Cape Verde stands as one of Africa's most stable democracies, a nation shaped by influences from Africa, Europe, and the Atlantic Ocean itself. Its story is one of survival, resilience, and identity. A story born in the middle of the sea. And to understand how this unique nation came to exist, we must travel back to the place where everything began. To understand Cape Verde, we must begin on the island of Santiago, where a small coastal valley faces the endless Atlantic. Today, the town is known as Cidade Velha. Quiet streets wind between old stone buildings. Palm trees sway in the ocean breeze, and life moves at a peaceful rhythm. But centuries ago, this place stood at the center of one of the most important maritime networks in the world. In 1462, Portuguese settlers established a settlement here called Ribeira Grande. It became the first permanent European city founded in the tropical regions of the world. At the time, European explorers were expanding their knowledge of the oceans. New trade routes were opening, and ships were crossing waters that had once been considered impossible to navigate. Cape Verde's location proved to be incredibly valuable. Positioned between Europe, Africa, and the Americas, the islands became a natural stopping point for vessels traveling across the Atlantic. Ships arrived carrying food, supplies, merchants, sailors, and news from distant lands. But alongside commerce came a darker chapter of history. As the Atlantic slave trade expanded, Ribeira Grande became one of its major transit centers. Thousands of men, women, and children taken from various regions of West Africa passed through these islands before being transported across the ocean. The harbor became a place where cultures, languages, religions, and human destinies collided. For centuries, ships continuously arrived and departed, connecting continents while reshaping lives forever. Today, the remaining ruins stand as silent witnesses to that complex past. Ancient churches, stone fortifications, and weathered streets still overlook the sea, reminding visitors of the role Cape Verde once played in the formation of the modern Atlantic world. Yet history here is not only a story of trade and empire, Itaúaidos is also the story of a new people. When the Portuguese arrived, they brought their language, traditions, religion, and customs. West Africans brought their own knowledge, music, beliefs, and cultural heritage. Because the islands had no indigenous population, these communities gradually built a completely new society together. Over generations, cultures blended in ways rarely seen elsewhere. A new language emerged. Today it is known as Cape Verdean Creole, or Criollo, neither fully European nor entirely African. It became a bridge connecting different origins and experiences. The same process shaped music, cuisine, traditions, and everyday life. A unique mixed society slowly developed across the islands, creating an identity unlike any other in the Atlantic region. The people of Cape Verde were not simply inheriting a culture, they were creating one. This remarkable fusion transformed the archipelago into a place where Africa and Europe met, not through borders, but through daily life. The foundations of modern Cape Verdean identity were laid here in Cidade Velha. Every stone pathway, every church wall, and every ocean-facing fortress tells part of that story. Even today, walking through the old town feels like stepping into the birthplace of a nation. But history would not remain unchanged forever. As centuries passed, global trade routes shifted, old economic systems declined, and Cape Verde faced some of the greatest challenges in its history. The struggle for survival would eventually spark a powerful movement that would change the future of the islands forever. By the 19th century, Cape Verde was entering a period of profound change. For centuries, the islands had depended on their strategic position in the Atlantic. But as global trade routes evolved and the transatlantic slave trade declined, many of the economic advantages that once fueled growth began to disappear. At the same time, nature brought its own challenges. Long periods of drought devastated crops across the archipelago. Food shortages became increasingly common, and many families faced difficult choices about their future. For countless Cape Verdeans, the answer was migration. Large numbers left the islands in search of opportunity abroad, particularly in the United States, Europe, and other Portuguese territories. Yet even as people departed, a growing sense of national identity remained. Across the 20th century, calls for self-determination became stronger. Among the most influential figures of this movement was Amilcar Cabral, although he spent much of his life fighting for the liberation of both Cape Verde and Guinea-Bissau. His ideas inspired generations of people who dreamed of freedom and independence. Cabral believed that true independence was not only about political control, it was also about preserving culture, dignity, and the right of a people to determine their own future. His vision became a powerful force throughout the Portuguese colonies of West Africa. After years of struggle and political change, that dream finally became reality. On July 5, 1975, Cape Verde officially gained independence from Portugal after more than 5 centuries of colonial rule. A new nation was born, small in size, isolated in the Atlantic, yet determined to shape its own destiny. Today, Independence Day remains one of the most important celebrations in the country, marking the moment when Cape Verde began writing its own chapter in history. But to truly understand this nation, we must look beyond its history and explore the islands themselves. Cape Verde is made up of 10 main islands scattered across the Atlantic Ocean. Together, they form a volcanic archipelago unlike any other. Locals traditionally divide these islands into two groups based on the winds that sweep across the ocean. To the north are the Barlavento Islands, known as the Windward Islands. To the south are the Sotavento Islands, or the Leeward Islands. Each island has its own character, landscape, and story. Some are defined by deserts and beaches, others by mountains and fertile valleys, and a few seem to contain entire worlds within their shores. One of the best-known islands is Sal. Seen from above, Sal appears as a golden ribbon surrounded by brilliant turquoise water. Rainfall is extremely scarce here, giving much of the island a dry and almost desert-like appearance. But hidden within this harsh environment lies one of Cape Verde's oldest treasures. For generations, vast salt flats have supported local communities, created through volcanic activity and centuries of seawater evaporation. These brilliant white salt pans shimmer beneath the sun like giant mirrors stretching across the landscape. Farther east lies Boa Vista. Its name means beautiful view, and few places live up to their name so perfectly. The island is famous for its endless beaches, rolling dunes, and untouched coastline. In many places, the scenery feels more like the Sahara Desert than a tropical island. Strong winds carry fine dust from North Africa across the Atlantic, continuously reshaping the dunes into ever-changing patterns. For many visitors, Boa Vista feels like a place where desert and ocean exist side by side. Yet perhaps no island captures Cape Verde's volcanic origins more dramatically than Fogo. Rising from the center of the island is Pico do Fogo, the highest mountain in the country. Towering more than 2,800 meters above sea level, it dominates the horizon like a colossal black pyramid. Unlike most mountains, Pico do Fogo is still active. Its eruptions have repeatedly transformed the surrounding landscape, covering entire areas with fresh volcanic rock. Yet despite the risks, people continue to live here. Again and again, communities rebuild after eruptions, drawn back by the fertile soil created by volcanic activity. Inside the massive caldera surrounding the volcano, vineyards and coffee plantations thrive among fields of black lava. It is a remarkable example of life flourishing in the shadow of nature's power. Then there is Santiago, the largest and most populous island in the archipelago. This is the political and economic heart of Cape Verde. The capital city, Praia, stands along its southern coast. Unlike the quiet atmosphere found on many of the smaller islands, Praia pulses with modern energy. Government institutions, universities, businesses, and busy markets all contribute to the rhythm of daily life. Yet Santiago is also deeply connected to the past. Ancient settlements, colonial landmarks, and historic valleys remind visitors that the foundations of the nation were built here centuries ago. Together, these islands reveal the incredible diversity hidden within this small Atlantic nation, and the journey is only beginning, because beyond the landscapes and volcanoes lies something even more fascinating: the culture, music, and spirit of the Cape Verdean people.